Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What issues will the government consider in deciding on its tax package for the budget?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, there are a number of considerations for the government. Firstly, any changes need to contribute to a better performing economy. We need to encourage more productive investment, savings and exports, and have less borrowing, consumption and government spending so we can increase the wealth of families in New Zealand. The tax system is one large policy lever we can pull to achieve this. Unlike the previous government, which was all talk and no action around the economy, this government is actually doing a number of things to turn the economy around. For example, we're investing billions of dollars to build schools, ultra-fast broadband, electricity transmission and roads, all of which will help increase productivity, create new jobs and help families get ahead.
Supplementary question.
Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What other considerations will the government make in considering options for improving the tax system?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, another important issue is ensuring the tax system is fair and equitable for all New Zealanders. That's why our starting point is considering personal income tax cuts across the board, not just for those on the top marginal rate. The vast bulk of households will be better off as a result of the package of tax measures in the budget on 20th of May. We will also make sure that individuals' taxable income more accurately reflects their true income, and we will move from a system which has nominally high tax rates, which both harm growth and are being widely avoided, to one that is fair to all taxpayers.
Stuart Nash.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, talking of fair and equitable, how will tax rate alignment and significantly reducing the top marginal rate for the 8% of New Zealanders earning over $70,000 benefit the 70% of Kiwis earning under $40,000?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, firstly I note that the proposal to reduce tax rates across the board is widely supported by New Zealanders according to a number of surveys. I think it's important to point out to the member that we currently have a tax system that taxes labour and investment income at relatively high rates, taxes consumption at relatively low rates, and generally gives money back to people when they invest in investment property. So therefore, is it any wonder that our economy is tilted towards consumption and property investment, that we have a shortage of savings, and that a high proportion of our skilled labour lives overseas? And those are the problems we have to solve.
Order. Before I call the next question, it was a very interesting answer, but I'm not sure that it said anything about how changes the top tax rate would assist someone under 40,000. I'd invite the Minister to actually answer the question.
I was making the point that if you didn't reduce the top tax rate, then a number of things wouldn't happen, and that's what I was seeking to explain to the member.
Well, the member, if the member has a further supplementary, he can explore it further. Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What are some of the problems with the current tax system which mean it's neither fair nor equitable?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the Tax Working Group identified a number of problems which show the current tax system is unfair for hard-working New Zealand families. For example, since the previous government increased the top personal tax rate, there has been very slow growth in the number of taxpayers reporting higher incomes compared to growth rates in earlier years, and a major spike in those earning almost exactly $60,000 a year, which was quite magical. This is most evident for people earning more than $1 million a year. Between 1999 and 2007, people in this category barely grew at all, unlike previous years, indicating a greater use of income sheltering and undermining the integrity of the tax system. The government will make a number of changes, the government will make a number of changes that will not only make the tax system fairer and more equitable, but will also help increase productivity and exports.
The Honourable Sir Roger Douglas.
Mr. Speaker, in deciding on the government's tax package in this year's budget, why does he intend to trade off horizontal equity for vertical equity, as he indicated in an earlier reply today, when horizontal equity, that is the same treatment for taxpayers with the same capacity to pay, is likely to increase savings, investment, entrepreneurial activity and lift our productivity growth?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the government acknowledges that high marginal tax rates are a disincentive to people to work hard and get ahead, but by the same token the government thinks that it is inequitable in the New Zealand context to have flat income tax rates, which I think is what the member was proposing in his question.
David Garrett.
How can taxpayers have any confidence in this year's budget when Paul Morgan and Wayne Mulligan can rip off TCO Plus to the tune of millions, and all the government will do is call for a, quote, value for money audit, close quote, when the Minister should be asking the Auditor-General or the SFO to conduct a fraud investigation?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. I think it's a fair way outside the original question.
The member who asked the question was on his feet first, wishing to speak to that point of order. David Garrett, did you wish to?
Yes, Mr Speaker. The primary question uses the word issues. What issues will the government consider? Surely one of the prime issues must be the integrity and the use to which money is put and the controls on the use of that money, given that it's taxpayers' money. That has to be a primary issue, surely.
I'll hear the Honourable Trevor Mallard very briefly.
I'd like, in fact, to defend the Acting Minister of Finance in this case. Sir, this is worldwide of the question. The issue, there might be an issue around the level. There might be an issue around the level of revenue to be got, and if there'd been a supplementary which had led to that, it could have been possible for the member to get there. But sir, this is issues about revenue.
We've heard enough on it. Rather than just rule the member's question out because he asked the question in good faith, I invite him to ask a question that does relate to the primary question, because while he mentions, David Garrett mentions the word issues in the question, it's issues with respect to the tax package that the primary question covers. So I invite the member, if he'd like to ask a supplementary question that is consistent with that primary question.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does the Minister intend to conduct investigations where there is good evidence that taxation monies have been ripped off?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, in terms of the tax package, the government is definitely working to improve the quality of our taxation system to ensure that various matters of tax avoidance and evasion are much less able to be done. But I have no comment to make on the individual case the member mentions.
Question number 5, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, my question is to